Welcome to the educational research section of www.happynumbers.org. This video is intended to give a introduction to educational research, the scientific method, some of the assumptions of the scientific method, and some of the characteristics of it. Much of the information was taken from McMillan and Schumacher 2006, Research in Education, Evidence-Based Inquiry. I gave you the ISBN number here, and again, I'm not pushing textbooks or anything like that, just citing some of the sources that I've been using. Well, let's take a look here. Okay, so I guess since we're teachers, or most of us are, who are looking at this, it's educational research. Would like us to focus a little bit on what effective teaching methods or strategies we are aware of that work. What do we know? And how do we know? How do we know? How do we come about knowing this knowledge? So I'd like you to do a thought experiment. Maybe you want to turn the video off and take some notes on, in terms of teaching methods or strategies, what ones you are aware of that work, that really work, and how do you know that they work? So why don't you take a few minutes, think about that, then turn the video back on and we'll take a look at it. Well, good. By the way, epistemology, the word epistemology means the study of how we know things. So when I'm asking you, how do you come to know this, I'm asking you, what is your epistemology? And there are many sources of information, and I've listed some of them: tradition or prior beliefs, authorities, existing authorities, common sense or experiences or sensory input or perceptions, logical analysis, extrasensory input or perception, faith. These are, pardon me, ways that we tend to know things. In terms of tradition, there's an interesting story about, and I'll try and make it quick, about 5 monkeys in a cage, and there's a banana and a bench and a stick. And one day one of the monkeys gets the bright idea to get the stick and move the bench over underneath the banana, and he goes to climb up. So he's going to knock the banana down with the stick, and the researchers who are watching this outside then spray all of the 5 monkeys with a stream of water, and they all get soaked and they're running around screaming and hollering. Well, in a day or two, this monkey gets the same idea, again, gets the stick and pushes the bench over, and the researchers do the same thing. And so this happens several more times, and obviously what all the monkeys learn is, if any one of them goes and gets the stick and the bench, they're going to get wet, so they'll stop the one who goes and gets it. And one day one of the monkeys dies, and the researchers put a new monkey in, and the new monkey gets the bright idea to do this, and of course the other 4 monkeys jump on the new monkey and stop him. And this goes on, and eventually all of the original monkeys in the cage die. And there are 5 monkeys who have never ever seen the water sprayed. But any time one of the monkeys goes to get the bench and the stick, all the other 4 always stop them. And of course these new monkeys have never ever seen the water spray. So this is just tradition. Things that we're doing it because this is the way we've always done it. And of course that's not a very good way of knowing things. In terms of knowing things from existing authorities, well, you can get almost authorities to agree, you can get authorities to say black, you can get authorities to say white, you can get authorities to say up, you can get authorities to say down. So that's generally not a very good way of getting our information. I mean, sometimes it's a very good way. Our doctors are authorities, and our mechanics are authorities, and that's a very good way, but sometimes it's not. In common sense or sensory input, they are notoriously fooled. Our senses are notoriously fooled. Just take a look at optical illusions, take a look at the research of eyewitnesses to crimes and things like that, and how unreliable they are. Logical analysis is another way, but yet logical analysis is based on linguistics and logic, and there's no contact with the actual natural phenomena. And in terms of the syllogisms, the logic of all dogs have 4 legs, I have 4 legs, therefore I'm a dog. Well, logically that makes sense, except the second premise is incorrect. I do not have 4 legs, so then the conclusion is wrong. So logical analysis can present problems. Extrasensory perception or input can present problems. It's considered non-consensus reality. And of course, faith presents a great deal of problems, not for the people who have faith, but which faith is the right one and all of that. So these are all traditional ways of knowing things. Traditional ways of knowing things. And they tend to be not reliable. And we need information that is valid and reliable. So therefore, we're working with the scientific method, which is the systematic examination of phenomena or behavior using verifiable procedures and which is subject to peer review. So here, we are not saying that all of these are no good, but we're saying that the scientific method, is the most reliable and valid way of gaining information. Now here are the assumptions underlying educational research or research in general. Research in general. And keep in mind these are assumptions. The world is real, material, and knowable. It can be measured. That's an assumption of science. Events in the world have identifiable causes. This is another assumption. Everyday experience, logical analysis are not enough to understand the world, the reality. These are, they don't stand up to the test. Systematic inquiry, experimentation that's using a scientific method, is then the best way to understand the world. That's another assumption. Characteristics of educational research. It is objective, unbiased, open-minded, objective. Data collection and data analysis are clear, valid, and reliable. That's one of the characteristics. It's based on precision, clear, concise, and repeatable experiments. Verification. The results can be confirmed by others. There can be replications of results. So that is another characteristic. Parsimony. Reduce complex realities to their simplest form. Empiricism, which means evidence is gained by systematic methodologies. Logical reasoning, deductive reasoning, which goes where there is an existing theory and then a hypothesis is stated, some kind of procedures are put in place and data is collected, there's observations, and then the hypothesis is either confirmed or rejected. So this is top down. It starts out with theory, goes to hypothesis, observation, and then confirmation or rejection. Inductive reasoning is bottom up. It starts out with a series of observations. It recognizes patterns. It creates tentative hypotheses to explain these patterns, and then it creates theory. So that's the opposite of deductive. So inductive is bottom up, deductive top down. If you have trouble, remember that. Deductive begins with a D and down begins with a D. And a major characteristic of educational research is that there are conditional conclusions. Nothing is proven in educational research, but results are reported in probabilistic statements of probability. Okay, those are the characteristics of educational research. And I believe that's it for the video. So, thank you very much, and we will see you next time where we'll talk about the different types of scientific research.